What's up, y'all? This is Mike Pyatt, and you're now listening to the Chillin on Half podcast. It's been a while since I did this thing, man, and I really don't have any excuse for it. I just wasn't feeling it. I tried to start a blog and wasn't feeling that. So now I'm back to the podcast, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going this time because it's something that I want to do. I like talking about sports and other things, as you will see in this episode. But still, it's just I want to do this. I want to talk. I like talking. I like interacting with Bama's. So we're back. Sorry for the wait, the long wait. I don't even remember the last time I did a podcast for Chilling on Half. But for those that are listening, that used to listen, welcome back. If this is your first time listening, thanks for listening. But again, my name's Mike Pyatt, and you're Chilling on Half, and we're just about to get into it. Of course, off top, the first thing that we're going to talk about is the Redskins name change. This topic used to be called the Redskins name debate whenever I would talk about it, but as far as I'm concerned, due to various reports, the statement that the Redskins themselves put out, this name is changing. Now, is it going to change before the season, after the season? I don't know, but the name will change. I've been talking about this for almost 8 years. Like, I remember back on Extreme Skins message board when they first started talking about this topic, it became so much that they had to take it away from the main football talk and put it on like the pop culture side of things. And it was crazy how, like I said, 8 years of this, 8 years of this, it's caused too much division. And no matter what side of the debate you're on, I can agree that it keeps hurting us more than it's helping us. And when I say us, I'm not even talking about just the Redskins organization, but the fans in general. Because like it or not, like the name or not, you can't tell me you're not fatigued by this. It's hard watching games, watching sports segments when they just want to talk about the name. It was draining. And that's probably the number one reason I'm down for the change because of that. And I don't like how it's changing. I don't like why it's changing. But the change itself, I'm cool with because I like to switch things up. I'm not frowning at a redesign at all. I'm still going to rock my Redskin gear wherever I go. And I'm sure there'll be people all over the country doing the same type of thing. If the Confederate flag was still flying in this country after their treacherous, evil contributions to the history of this country, surely you can expect Redskins fans to not stop wearing the gear that stores like Walmart, Amazon, Target, if you're from the DMV, DC, Discount Mart, Models, Dick's, everybody was selling Redskins gear for all these years, and I just don't think the fans are going to stop wearing it right now, and they shouldn't. Like I said, the topic was divisive at its core. I can't say one side was more right than the other side because I know the history of the word Redskins, and I'm getting tired of people in the media trying to create this narrative that from the start the Redskins was meant to be derogatory or to dishonor Native Americans when from the start it's always been about empowering Native Americans. And it kind of sucked that people went so hard at the Redskins name, but they didn't have that same energy towards the Indians, the Cleveland Indians, when I feel like that name is way more insensitive than the Redskins. Christopher Columbus thought he was traveling to India, landed on a completely different side of the world, and started calling these people that have lived on this land for their whole lives. He started calling them Indians because he thought he was in India. But it was cool for the Cleveland Indians to rock that name, and the fact that the Redskins has the word skin in it, that just automatically makes it a derogatory thing. Even the logo itself, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Redskins didn't have cartoon logos back in the days, but even still, their cartoon logos were never like cartoonish in a way that the Chief was for the Indian. I think his name was even out there. Was it Chief Wahoo? Like, come on, man. But nobody was pushing that same energy towards the Redskins. I mean, towards the Indians like they were the Redskins, and that's cool. I understand that when you're a higher profile team, when more eyes are on you, especially when you compare Cleveland and DC, and that's no shade. That's no, believe me, that's no shade towards Cleveland. That's no shade towards the state of Ohio. I have folks out there. I have friends out there. Even they tell me Cleveland isn't the best city out there. So there's no shade towards Cleveland. But DC is the state, the capital of the country. And all eyes were on the Redskins, so to speak, as far as these name changes go. And you can bet that as soon as the Redskins announced that they were revealing their name, the Cleveland Indians followed up immediately, like, oh yeah, we're going to do the same thing they are. So it was just unfortunate the way these things happen. But like I said, it's time. It's causing too much division. As I also expect the Chiefs' name to change sometime in the near future as well. And it's just that time. Like, it's just that time, and you can't expect things to keep going this way. Not only when companies start pulling Redskins merchandise or demanding that the team name change, but it's the racial tensions are too high in this country to keep going on with the name Redskins. Now, as far as when we wear our gear and stuff, let us worry about that. Let us worry about that when the time comes. Whenever whenever they change the name, we'll wear our gear. We'll do it proudly. We'll do it with honor the same way before they changed the name. But like I said, if you try to bring that whole Confederate flag stuff and derogatory, you're going to get shut down immediately, because that is two completely different things. Like I said, the Confederacy, they were treacherous. They were traitors against America. They were in favor of oppressing slaves or keeping slavery in this country, and a whole bunch of shady other things that the Confederacy did. I'm not going to sit here and say the Redskins were saints. I remember when Dan Snyder sued the old lady because she didn't pay for her season tickets after her husband died. Like, I remember the Bama stuff he did, like sending a tub of ice cream to Mike Nolan, the Redskins' former defensive coordinator, saying that he doesn't like vanilla defenses. Like, who the heck is he to be telling a defensive coordinator what he don't like? And then send ice cream at that. It melted on his desk. Like, Dan Snyder is that dude. He is not a saint. He's a Bama more often than he's not. But as far as the Washington Redskins go, the team has done too much for this area. They've also done a lot for Native Americans. And they have a very deep history. But at the end of the day, it's just not going to, the name has to go. It's unfortunate, but embrace the change. Like, embrace the change. Even if they go with a stupid name, embrace it, man. Hopefully they don't change the colors, so still rock the colors, man. And yeah, we'll go from there. And there's a reason that I didn't mention any names, potential names. I kind of want to dedicate an episode to that. So we'll talk about that next week. But in the meantime, you've been listening to the first segment, and this is Chillin on Half. We just getting started, man. I'm excited. You could probably hear it in my voice for those who know me. Yeah, we about to get this thing popping. Here's a little snippet from my man, Lord Mirkos, Lord music producer on YouTube that I've been following for the last few years. Make some fire anime beats, man. And yeah, just check that guy out, and we'll be back in a few. Yo, welcome back to Chillin on Half, man. I'm sorry about that first segment. I don't know what that noise was in the background, but we just want to keep it rocking. I think I tested it out and I think I fixed it, but yeah, I'm not sure what was going on. So my apologies for that first segment. But if you stuck through, I really appreciate it, and I'm gonna reward you with some real Redskin football talk. So we're talking about wide receivers and people want to bring in another person, or people think that we're going to bring in another person. When Dwayne Haskins first started working out with Antonio Brown, you saw Twitter like explode, even to the point where it was on ESPN. The segments came on NFL Network asking if the Redskins were going to sign Antonio Brown. Then a few weeks ago, we started hearing those same rumors about Josh Gordon, and that'll be cool to bring in those two, but I just don't understand what's the point of doing it right now. Not only because of the fluidity of the off season, but those two aren't the most model citizens in the NFL, so to speak. And if you have such a young team, do you really want to bring players with those profiles on this team? Now, in a different year, like if the Redskins weren't as young and they were in a similar situation, then sure, why not? But right now, the team is young and they're trying to rebuild, so there's really no point of bringing in somebody like Antonio Brown or Josh Gordon. And on top of that, outside of those two, I looked at the receivers. It's not really much to pick from out there, man. So we're gonna roll with what we got, and what we have on the roster, it's not really that bad. It's it's not the most guaranteed wide receiver core, but at the same time, I was talking about Terry McLaurin for the last couple of days. PFF, no, I'm sorry, it was Yahoo. They released an article about PFF saying that Terry McLaurin was the most valuable receiver in the NFC East. I don't necessarily agree with that, but what I will say is that I love that Terry McLaurin's on the Redskins, and I look forward to seeing him grow as a player. But outside of that, it's question marks. It's just straight question marks. Steven Sims, question mark. Cody Latimer. We don't even know if he's going to be on the team right now because he's dealing with legal troubles. Um, who else? I'm trying to think. Oh, Antonio Gandy Golden. He a rookie. Question mark. Kelvin Harmon. Question mark. Trey Quinn. We don't even know if that's a question mark anymore. That might be a period now. Like, he was the last pick in the draft for a reason. And like I said, no shade to him either, but it's like, what, you're in trouble to make the team at a receiver on this team. Do I have to say more? Same with Cam Sims and Darvin Kissy, man. We have a lot of nothing outside of McLaurin, and the talent might be there, but the production isn't. And until the production matches the talent, we're always going to have question marks on these players. But if the team does bring in a free agent veteran receiver, I doubt it, especially based on what's out there. But if they do bring in one, then that's just horrible news for the other receivers that's on the team, because that means that they couldn't step up and separate themselves from the pack. Also, I feel like because the Redskins have so much money next year, they don't have to sign a receiver right now. They can wait until the 2021 off season because they'll have so much money. I think they'll be able to add a couple of expensive players in free agency next year. And I feel like receiver will be one of those positions. And the crazy part about the receivers is that running back has just as many questions. Now, fortunately for running back, the talent does match the production. But the talent and production doesn't match the availability. So Darius Geisey came last year and he had a great middle of the season. Like, he was killing stuff, stiff arming Bammers, catching screens, taking them to the house. Like, it was awesome seeing him play until he got injured again. Is something, it's annoying, not only because he's in both of my fantasy dynasty leagues, but it's also annoying because I like seeing him play. And I just haven't had enough time to see him play this in his career. And I want to see the Bama run. I like seeing him play games, and I'm pretty sure he likes to play football. So everybody wins when he's on the field, but he has to stay healthy. He has to be available. And like I said earlier in the previous segment, they do have money. They have money to go after players next offseason, and running back could be on that list. But we have to see what happens in 2020 with running backs like Geis, J.D. McKissick. Um, they drafted Antonio Gibson. Bryce Love still on the roster. They signed Peyton Barber. And of course, the legend Adrian Peterson, who probably will start the season as the starting running back. But can we realistically depend on Adrian Peterson to be here for 4 years like he wants to? You can't. It'll be foolish to do that with a running back as old as he is. And I know 35, 36 isn't old per se, but in the NFL, that's a long time, man. And he's a running back, so that means he's has even more wear and tear on his body. But if it was one person that probably can defeat those odds, it is somebody like Adrian Peterson. The dude just, I like watching him play too. Like, it's nothing else I can say. But I feel like the wild cards are Bryce Love and Darius Geis. I think Antonio Gibson will be solid enough to solidify his spot as a running back on the future of this team and be a part of the future of this team. I feel like Antonio Gibson will be that running back. But with Bryce Love and Darius Geis, those two can be the two that can take this backfield to the next level. Those two could be the one. Darius Geis has looked elite-ish when he's on the field. He makes plays, and no one can debate that. But they have to stay healthy. Bryce Love, I don't even think he's practiced as a Redskins yet. But the good news about both of them is that they're kind of young. They're both 23 years old, I believe, or 24 years old. So they're not spring chickens, but they're not 35 or 36 like Adrian Peterson either. So the running back field it has as many questions as the wide receivers, but the situation isn't as horrible as it seems. Because if these running backs don't work out, running backs is that one position where you can find a diamond in the rough anywhere. You can find a free agent. You can find a rookie free agent. You could draft one in the first, fifth, third, sixth, whatever round. So that's the good news about if Geis and Love doesn't work out. But of course, we all want them to work out. The last Redskins football related thing I wanted to talk about is my guy Landon Collins. I feel like people aren't talking about him enough. It's a shame that they aren't talking about him. His stats may have been underwhelming last year, but he made a lot of plays. He made a lot of plays. And as the defense around him gets better, I believe that he'll play better. Also, maybe with a new safety, he'll be able to play in the box more. I know he doesn't like to be called that, but I hope he understands just because he's a box safety, it doesn't mean he sucks at pass coverage or that he's slow. The NFL is a quick game now, and you have to shut down those plays that's closer to the line of scrimmage now more than ever. Those screens, those jet sweeps, man, all of that stuff is close to the line of scrimmage. So he should take honor at being a box safety, man, because that's where you make the plays. That's where you can shut down the play before it even starts. So I think now that you have better defensive coordinators, you have a defensive line that looks like it can be elite, and that's not a stretch. That's real talk, and we're definitely going to talk about the defensive line here on Chillin on Half. You ain't got to worry about that. But with all these pieces around him getting better, I expect him to take another leap. I expect him to. I don't think it's outlandish to say that Landon Collins could have an All Pro type season because he's done it before. So I would put his name, if I had to give one player other than Chase Young on the defense that could have a huge season, I'm gonna give it to the person that they paid $36 million to last year, or however much they paid them. And I expect him to ball out because, like I said, he made plays. His stats may not have been that good. The Redskins defense was absolute trash last year, but you can tell that they had some talent. That the coordinating, that the play calling, the coverages just weren't where they needed to be. So hopefully now that Jack Del Rio is here as a coordinator and you got Ron Rivera overseeing them as a head coach, hopefully everything falls into place for this defense and I can finally enjoy watching Redskins play defense again. After this, man, we're going to do one more segment. I'm going to talk a little NBA and then followed by the People's Choice question. This is the segment that I'm starting. I asked a question and off the off the first reply, somebody replied with a great topic I could talk about, and you're going to find out when you get back to Chillin on Half.
Let my revenge begin. You may call me Golden Freezer.
Welcome back to Chillin on Half, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the NBA restart. I'm not happy for a plethora of reasons. Not only is things down there kind of weird, I saw a video of Patrick Beverly. He looks like he's having a good time, making the best out of a tough situation. He showed everybody his hotel room and all his amenities that it looks like he brought himself. But outside of that, about the actual games, yeah, I'm just not feeling it, man. Bradley Beal isn't going for the Wizards. Davis Bertans isn't going for the Wizards. That's our two best players this year, man. And as nice it'll be to see Ruchi Hachimura play, the Wizards rookie, that's a lot of tongue twisting type words, but the Wizards rookie, Huchimara, or let's just call him Rui. I still haven't found out how to pronounce the man's last name yet. That's just laziness on my part. But it's going to be nice to see him play. But outside of that, man, I'm looking for us to go 0-8, to be honest with you, straight up. They're not going to come within 4 games of the final, the 9th seed. So congratulations, Orlando, for your playoff spot. Yeah, this is going to be ugly, but I'm going to watch it. Outside of that, it's just basic NBA playoff stuff for me. I'll be watching. I hope they can finish it. But as far as who's a top contender, I still think it's the same teams because of how strange everything is right now. You can't really call it like you normally would. But I feel like at the end of the day, the teams that are elite during the season or that were good or with the best players will separate themselves from the pack. So having said that, I think it's up between the LA teams, the Clippers and Lakers, and the Milwaukee Bucks. I feel like those are the 3 teams that you can put money on to win the NBA championship. No disrespect to the other 13 teams that'll make the playoffs. It's just when you have those 3 players, Kawhi, LeBron, and Giannis, like, I'm not going to really pick against those players. Especially when I remember that the teams that were supposed to compete against them were struggling themselves. Shoot, even the Clippers were struggling, I believe, during that time. I was expecting them to pick things up when the season ended, but we never got to the end of the season, so who knows what's going to happen in the playoffs. But I just know as a Wizards fan, I'm not looking forward to it. And I'm pissed that they didn't take the opportunity to do a 16 seed playoff instead of doing conference based playoffs. I thought that they had done it, but after reading up on it, they decided not to do it. So now we're just gonna get the same basic playoffs that we always gotten. I feel like that's a bad move by the NBA, man. I would love to see the in the playoffs the Thunder take on the Nets or something. Well, not the Nets; they'll sweep them. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. Like nobody wants to see a Bucks versus Magic round one. Like if you want to give us something different, let it be Lakers versus Magic round one, and give us something different to look at. Let LeBron slaughter the Eastern Conference one more time, man. Yeah, except for in the NBA Finals. And shoot, we missing out on a potential LA versus LA NBA Finals, man. I'm pretty sure the world will want to see that, but it is what it is. I just know as a Wizards fan, don't expect me to talk about it too much because yeah, we're not in it, and I'm not going to care too much. But we'll talk about the NBA once the playoffs start. But you're not going to get that same passion that I would give if the Wizards were in it, and that's just me being real. So about that People's Choice topic, I put a post out on Facebook yesterday on my personal page, not on Chillin on Half, because quite frankly, I get more traffic on my personal page than I do on Chillin on Half. That's why I double post so much. If anyone was ever wondering, why do I share it on Chillin on Half and then share it on my personal page? I get more traffic on there. And if y'all members want to, nobody's complained, but I'm just saying if y'all don't want to see the joints on my personal page, start following Chillin on Half, and I wouldn't have to keep sharing them on both places. And that's just a cheap plug for my Facebook page. But yeah, so I put the question out there like, hey, if some non-sport, non-political topics, I'll dedicate an entire segment to it. And off top, my man Werner hit me with a vicious question. He basically wanted me to talk about My Hero Academia and Dragon Ball Z and who has better fighting scenes. I'm laughing because my nephews will call me biased when I say this, but I can't deny that My Hero doesn't have better fighting scenes. And that's no disrespect to Dragon Ball at all. I still daydream about that Kamehameha that Goku hit on Kefla in the Tournament of Power. The Cell games were fire. The Tournament of Power was fire. Um, like it's some dumb scenes on Dragon Ball Super that I done watched countless times simply based on the fact that it was Dragon Ball Z and it was a cool fight to watch. It was a cool fight to watch. Um, like the Vegeta versus Frieza fight, even though they hustled my man Vegeta at the end. I watched that whole fight, and that was just about a few seconds of Vegeta crushing Frieza. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't enjoy Dragon Ball Z fights. It's just that my hero has an unfair advantage of having heroes with very different quirks. And on top of that, I'm reading the manga for my hero. And if you thought the season 4 Endeavor versus that Nomu fight finale was good, you have no idea how ridiculous season 5 for My Hero Academia will be. But that's the main separator between the two, is the fact that My Hero has a variety of quirks that Dragon Ball Z just doesn't. Now they try to throw some things in there every now and then, but the variety, the vast variety of different type of quirks and My Hero Academia, it's just, it gives the author a better platform to fight on, so to speak. Not a physical, visible platform, but I'm talking about as far as the angles that you can hit in the fight. For example, if you watch the season 4 Deku versus Gentle Criminal fight, that was just a fire fight. It lasted longer than it needed to probably, but the way it transitioned from the middle of a street to in the air to at a warehouse, and Gentle Criminal is using these crazy air blasts and these crazy obstacles out of air, like literally pulling air out of thin air, so to speak. So it was just a firefight scene, and I just think that because of the variety of quirks, that Dragon Ball just can't keep up with that. But that doesn't mean that Dragon Ball doesn't put out fire fights themselves. It's just that My Hero is on another level as far as the things that they can do with these fights. And that's all we have for this episode of Chillin' on Half, man. I just want to thank y'all for chilling with a brother. It was fun, it was cool, and I'm not going to try to put them out every Friday or every Thursday or whatever. But what I will say is I'll try to be as consistent as possible. I think I found a way to record these and edit these that won't inconvenience me too much. But it's not easy doing these podcasts, so shout out to everybody that's able to do them consistently and at a high level. It's too many to name right now, but just know that if you're listening and if you're a podcaster, just know that you got to put in that work to keep it going. And hopefully, if you're listening, you can get consistent with me and we can help out each other, collab or whatever, man. But again, my name's Mike Pye. Y'all have a good day.